Are you really lazy, or is something else going on? I'm Bree DeLong, and this is the Happier Attorney, the channel where we attorneys talk about flat fees and about mindset. And one of the things that happens with flat fees, and it happens a lot, is that I will have a client, an attorney client, and they start learning flat fees and they start using flat fees, or they improve how they've already been using flat fees, and heaven forbid, it starts working. That sounds great, right? But if this issue crops up, it's something that you have to work through, or you're going to self-sabotage. And what is that? That is the feeling of you having to be busy, having to work over more and more and more and more and more. The feeling that if you're going home on a Friday afternoon, that's a bad thing. Something's wrong. The feeling that if you're not working on vacation, you're lazy, you're bad, something's wrong. You're not doing something right. And most of us have all had that feeling. And what happens is if you don't really recognize what's going on and why it's going on and work through that, you'll self-sabotage. How do you self-sabotage? Even if you're using flat fees, well, you'll keep taking on more and more clients to keep busy, to get away from that feeling. Or you will, heaven forbid, cut your price to bring in more clients. It's almost like feeling compelled to work. Even though the money's there, you know logically the more clients you have, the worse job you're going to do. You're signed up with flat fees, okay? You've already bought into flat fees. This isn't an intellectual issue. This is an emotional issue. And it is impossible to solve an emotional issue with an intellectual solution. So I can tell you, it's fine. You don't need to overwork all day long. But until you work through those feelings, you're going to do it, okay? So where does this come from? Well, some of this comes from our culture in America, the Protestant work ethic. And a lot of it comes from our legal culture that rewards overwork, at least in terms of status, at least in terms of getting kudos from other people, being accepted by other attorneys. And that's a big deal. A lot of times we pretend it's not, but it is. It really is a big deal to us. And so if our status is connected with how hard we're working, how much we're overworking, until we work through that, you're going to be at battle with yourself. You're going to have this internal battle. Because intellectually, again, you know that the overworking is bad for you, that it's bad for your clients, that it's bad for your work product, that it's bad for morale, all of the things. You intellectually know that. It's the feeling of being compelled when you're like, oh, I should be working, even though you know that's not true. So I would invite you to, really examine where this belief comes from, and is it true? Or is it just somebody else's outside external nonsense? Are you really going to lose status in the legal profession if you're not overworking? A, no. B, who cares? Okay? Let them overwork. They're not living your life. They don't have your goals. Let them overwork. Let them play the game. What if you had your own rules for your own game? If you're doing good work for your clients, you're making the money you want to make, you're doing what you want to do, who cares what they think? Let them live their life, you live yours. I know that's easier said than done. But the more of us say no to that ridiculous game, the more inviting it is for other people to come and join us. Because it's a ridiculous notion. And it's really harming us. It's really harming us. Then you have to also examine not just the outside perception, but what are you doing? What emotional issues are you not wanting to deal with? Because a lot of times people overwork and they keep the treadmill going really, really, really fast so that they don't have to deal with feelings. They don't have to deal with stuff. I've known attorneys that even came into the office on the weekends just to hang out, dare I say, because they didn't want to be home for whatever reason. And that was an excuse. That was an excuse to not be home because no one's going to question it. It's a socially acceptable thing to do. Oh, I'm going into work. Nobody's going to be bitching about it. Maybe your spouse, but it's still socially acceptable. Okay? So this requires some self-examination of what's going on. Why am I feeling compelled to overwork? Is it true? Is it true that, and I have heard the L word from attorneys so often it's not even funny, the word lazy. I've maybe met, and I've been practicing nearly 30 years. I've been in the legal field for over 30. I've met maybe 2 attorneys that I'm like, they're a little lazy. You're not lazy. My guess is you're not lazy. There's something else going on there. So if you are feeling compelled to work when you're using flat fees and you don't actually need to, I would invite you to do some self-examination. What's going on here? And remember, what is the goal? And what is your why? Why did you want to start using flat fees in the first place? And what service and what quality of work do you really want to give your clients? Because I'll take this to the mat. The quality of your work when you're working 60, 70, 80 hours of work a week is just not the same as if you were working 35 to 40. It's just not. And there's no room to be creative. There's no room to come up with great creative solutions when you're overworked and your brain's just going like that. There's just not. And that's what our clients really need. So watch the feelings. The first step is just to be aware of it, not to even try and fix it. Just be aware of it. Great opportunities coming up. The holidays are coming up. Oh, this is a good test. This is a great test for you. Are you able to take more time off? Are you not only with your schedule, but internally? Or are you going to be like, twitching? Oh, I can't. And then making up some nonsense as to why you can't. And I'm not talking about if you legitimately can't, like if you have a trial right after the holidays or something, okay? That's not most of you. And when you are at home, even let's say you take an extra day, an extra week, whatever, are you still twitching when you're at home, or are you able to truly relax and leave work behind? Fully connect with the people in your life. Fully connect with yourself without work. It might be a test. It might be hard. What I guarantee you, is if you are, the more you are able to do that, the more you are able to just shut out work, when you get back to work, not that this is the goal, not that this should be the goal, but just to give yourself a little bit of, relief, you're going to be a better attorney when you get back to work. You're going to do better work because you're going to be refreshed. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have a better bandwidth. The more you're able to disconnect, the more you're going to be like, oh, there's the solution to the problem that was in that case that I haven't been able to figure out. I promise. I promise. So have a great holiday season, y'all, and we will see you next year.